So let's talk about AI, right? So massive, massive buzz. It's going to change the world. Massive market opportunity. Me as a business owner, us as a Huntsville community, AI is poised to make some massive impacts. What are the building blocks of AI? We're going to talk about that. A lot of people are pretty educated in this audience, so hopefully that'll be somewhat familiar. We're going to talk about some of the key components and the massive link with cybersecurity. So cyber is in a real transformational state. With the advent of AI, you're seeing a lot of integration, a lot of connectivity. So you're going to see in this discussion how that happens and what's going to happen. Specific AI applications in cyber, what are some of the benefits, and obviously there's some massive challenges that we'll walk through, and hopefully the smart people in the room are already starting to think about some of the solutions there. We're going to do a discussion on hackers and AI, some of the things that the hackers are doing with AI. I know later this afternoon, my colleague Marcus Sachs, who's on the Cyber Huntsville board as well, will kind of give a deep dive into some of the threats and threat environment or landscape with that. But I just want to briefly talk about some of the things the hackers are doing, talk about some of the tools that are out there, and then really what does the future landscape look? Unfortunately, I don't have a crystal ball, but I have some thoughts and insights around where I think it's going. All right, so let's set the stage. So if you listen to the media, the news, your neighbors, AI is going to change the world, right? So quick show of hands here. Do you guys believe that in the next 10 years, will AI change how you work in your daily life? I want to see people that the next 10 years. Okay, what about 5 years? What about right now? Okay, yeah, so there's a lot of things that are happening, but the prevailing sentiment is this is going to be very, very powerful, very impactful, even more impactful than the internet was back when I was a young buck. So I think you're going to see massive societal change. Nearly every industry that's going to be impacted by this. It's going to be huge. And candidly, if you're not embracing or researching or getting involved or really understanding AI, you're going to get left behind. It's that important and it's that paramount, particularly when it comes to cyber. By the way, hopefully you guys can acknowledge this, but I'm actually just an AI generated hologram right now. So again, the advances are happening so fast. Obviously, all kidding aside, but things are really going to really take shape here in the next few years. And even right now, like I said, if you have a business, if you're in school, if you're studying this, it's just so fast. I constantly have to try to keep up with it, and I can't. But the reality is it's going to change the world. It's going to change how we operate. It's going to change our daily lives. And time is now to really acknowledge and to dig into it, and particularly within the cyber community. So again, I'm a business owner, right? So I'm looking at this of, okay, what does this really mean? What's the market opportunity for my business, for my community, for Huntsville? Everybody raise their hands, right? So this is, again, the community here, between $800 billion and $1 trillion inject. This is going to change everything. It's going to revolutionize everything. Huge, massive market opportunity right now. This year, 2025, we just got started. It's January, right? $250 billion market is going to be generated for AI. So again, if you're not touching this, if you're not getting smart on it, you're in trouble. So I'm glad everybody's here in the room. Frankly, it should be times 10 talking about this, but it's massive. So again, you got to get on the bandwagon. Again, I know people say, oh, hey, AI is not real. It's not, there's problems. You got to train it right. There's all these challenges. That's true, but you got to get on the bandwagon now because this is an opportunity that it's just, you can't discount. So again, my message for you guys is we need to lean forward on IA. We need to take advantage of this market opportunity, and you really need to find the most optimal business case, right? For you and where you are in your career, where you are in your business, where you are in industry, because AI is really all about how you use it and what's most relevant to you, right? So the business case is really going to be very imperative for the folks in this room. Again, it might work well for one outcome. Maybe it doesn't work well for another outcome, right? So you kind of have to start thinking through this, but the opportunities, the stakes are insane. Honestly, it's just kind of mind blowing if you really think through it. I know, by the way, I just wanted to say this earlier. I'm very proud and that I'm also part of the AI task force here in Huntsville, led by the Mayor Tommy Battle, but super proud to see that Huntsville is really standing up kind of a AI center of excellence, an ecosystem that we can have these types of conversations really drive forward. A lot of the businesses are really armed together as part of this AI task force in Huntsville to really lean forward on how can we address AI, what's the right path for AI, how do we embrace it from a policy, at least local policy perspective. So a lot of really great work is being done already. Again, mostly more questions than answers, but at least we're tackling things, right? So it's a really great time to be having this conversation. But kudos to our community, and you guys are a part of that for really driving that forward. All right, so this is the reality check, folks. You all raised your hand. Hey, things are changing today. So we have large language models that are out there right now. Everybody knows OpenAI, ChatGPT, Anthropic, Grok, Cerebus, Fireworks AI. There's a ton of them now, right? So they're all out there. This is just happening. It's explosive. These large language models are out there, and they're only going to be growing and more pervasive. But in my opinion, what's really most exciting about this is these AI-enabled platforms. So I don't know if you're familiar with Stock AI, FlowWise, BotPress. I mean, those are kind of the ones that are top of mind. But the reality on this is you now have this low-code, no-code software that allows you to build your own AI apps that you can use for your businesses, for your workflows, frankly, for school, however you guys want to apply it. But it's so easy. And I don't want to give a commercial for these guys, but like Stack AI, I mean, you can go in there, not know anything about coding, scripting. If you know a little bit, you can probably do a little bit more, but you're basically dragging and dropping workflows. Hey, I want to review this particular document. I want to look for this. I want to have this particular output. The report needs to look like this. I want to ask these questions. I want to build a chat assistant AI or assistant for my website, AI-enabled assistant. You can do those with these AI-enabled platforms. Basically, it's super easy. I don't even have a computer science degree, but I did grow up in this industry, so I've gotten pretty smart about it. But you don't have to know a lot to make a lot of impact. So get smart on these apps. Stock AI, FlowWise, BotPress. I mean, these are things that you should be using now. All the businesses that are out there in the community should be thinking about how they can leverage those. So I do a lot of work in the GovCon, government consulting space, do a lot of federal contracting like everybody else and their brother around here. But one of the things that's happening is transformational. We're using these AI-enabled platforms to actually shred requests for proposals, requirements for performance work statements. So the government puts out works, these big $1 million plus contracts, and they say, hey, you have to write a proposal. So you can actually really quickly generate all the information you need, clarifying questions. It's amazing what you can do. Now there's some issues potentially with that about taking information from all these open language models. There's kind of at least in town and in the government space, more of a perspective of making sure that you're pulling your data sets and are training from kind of internal boundaries, right? Not necessarily getting data from just anywhere, right? Because we'll get to this in a little bit, but data is paramount, and the quality of data is paramount. But again, I have a couple sample AI use cases up here, but these are limitless, and these are some big companies. I mean, Instacart, I don't know if you guys use Instacart, but they just did their AI assistant called Ava. They were using these AI-enabled platforms, go on their website, ask questions. Hey, how do I do this? How do I set up these functions? I want to buy XYZ type of groceries. I want to have this, whatever it is. They have an AI chatbot right there telling you, answering what you need, all the questions, and it's very, very good. I mean, it's like you're talking to a human. They can answer almost every question. That the advances that they've had recently are just incredible. So just to show you that this is happening now today, if you're not doing this, if you're not incorporating AI into your business operations, man, you're going to be left behind. You got to do it now. I don't know what they're teaching in school, but they need to be teaching this. And if they're not, go online and find these applications, start playing around with it, figure it out, build a test environment, start playing around with this to see how it works and what you can learn from it. Because if you don't, you're gonna be behind. Amazon, all their product recommendations, the bazillion dollar, who hasn't used Amazon, right? Everybody in this room. So they have so many umpteen recommendations now. They understand what you've bought, what you've liked, and they'll actually tailor the recommendations that you want to see to you based on your user behavior and user profile. All AI driven, right? So they've been able to do that. It's incredibly powerful. So you're more likely to buy, or you're more likely to have a favorable experience. So when you see everybody, oh man, I need to look at the recommendations, those are real. They are real. However, they're curated specifically to you and your likes and your behavior, so that they're more likely to resonate to you that, hey, I should probably buy this product or buy this XYZ, right? So again, this stuff is happening. I mean, these big companies are using it. It's incredibly powerful. And I'm going to kind of dig deep a little bit on this Google. So this is where I think there's a massive convergence between cyber and AI. So Google has recognized this. So they have built specific AI-enabled workflows for their security and privacy events, like their security incident event management solutions, their continuous monitoring or monitoring their network. So when they're looking for audit findings, events, user behavior, all of that stuff is being correlated by AI. And they're building tailored reports to the different stakeholders within their organization. So the executive team will get their reports based on the key metrics or indices that they want to see. And they have the operators, they're going to get their own tailored reports for what they need. And they're allowing the leadership to make, and this is exciting for me, because oftentimes, typically in the cyber world, you kind of have to go deep. Hey, was this real? Is this a false positive? What does this really mean? And you really, as much as you kind of get an awareness of the different tools and technologies that are out there, you kind of have to always kind of, hey, is this real? You have to question it, and that slows you down. And the reality is, in the cyber community, you got to move fast. I mean, the adversaries are out there. We're going to talk a little bit more about what they're doing and how they're making a lot of challenges for us. But you got to be able to move fast. So this allows you to be able to move faster. What are the reports that are out there? I can make real time, really sharp decisions. And Google understood that and said, hey, this is a massive use case for us using AI with cyber. And I think that is only going to be fortified, and we're going to talk more about that. So again, today, now, this is happening. Now is the time you need to get smart on this. This generative AI platform is building your chatbot. You don't have to be a coder. I mean, again, if you know some of the background on how to do that, that's an advantage. But I expect this is going to, it's just drag and drop. Hey, I want to do this function. I want to build this. Okay, hey, I need an API for this tool. I'm going to take this data set from this. Drag and drop. What are the outcomes you want? It's just so easy. It's too easy right now to not be using this. And if you're not, your competitors are, your colleagues are, they're all going to be 8 steps ahead of you, and you don't want that, right? You want to be able to be on par with everybody else. So anyway, amazing time in history right now that we get to make real impact. So hopefully that makes sense. All right, so let's dive a little bit deeper into some of the kind of key components and to showcase this link with cyber, because by the way, I see a massive transformation with cyber. It's just, as AI takes off, cyber is just going to be in parallel with AI, and it's just going to change the whole model. So again, kind of the 101 version here, artificial intelligence, the ability to learn and reason like humans. It's only getting better. I mean, over time, when this thing first came out, it was really clunky. It was hard to really get accurate information. But as the data models are getting trained, as there's more scale data, as the data expands, it's getting better and better. Machine learning is part of the AI. Again, it's using algorithms that can learn and be programmed for specific purposes. And obviously, you probably have heard of deep learning. I don't want to get too deep into this, but there's some artificial neural networks, really kind of silo view around how we're going to learn from specific data sets and some complexity around that. Again, there's a whole science around deep learning and neural networks. Again, that's another class that we can take another time. And then all of that really kind of drives this new data science, right? So data science is the new currency, right? So everything that you do should really be focused on data. Hey, should I be doing it? Is it getting the outcomes, the result I need? Am I making progress? Am I actually making it worse? Instead of just making gut checks, me as a business owner, I actually look, okay, how well are we doing? And it can't just be a feel. Oh, I think we're doing great. Joe and Sarah says we're awesome. I need to see, hey, what does the data say? Are we making progress? In particular with cyber, right? When you're looking at events, when you're looking at risk, when you're looking at feedback. So again, data is the new currency. If you can figure that out and understand that, that's a big deal. Because it's the new currency, it needs to be protected. So I think, again, hopefully many of you in the room, if not all of you, understand the CIA triad, right? Confidentiality, integrity, availability. So if the data is the currency, is it confidential? Is it being kept private for the purposes that you want the person to get to? Integrity of data, is it accurate, or people modifying it, manipulating it to nefarious purposes? Want to make sure you have credibility that the data is what it really is. And then obviously availability is the data getting to the appropriate person or organization or wherever it's going on in the right time window, right? So that's what security does. It makes sure that you have the appropriate confidentiality, that the data actually is what it really says it is, and you're getting it there on time. So the whole paramount here, the whole foundation of this is, if AI is going to take over the world, and we all know it is, and everybody raise their hands in the room, that means cybersecurity has to be a big part of it. It has to be embedded in it. Otherwise, it's not going to work. If you get a large language model, it's trained inaccurate or it's pumping out the wrong information, it's going to die. People are going to say, this is not accurate. This is not what we need. This is not going to work. So the reality is cybersecurity has to be built into this. So it's critical to the success, frankly. So as everybody says, hey, AI is going to take off. If cyber is not built in, if security is not built into the AI models, this whole thing crashes and burns, which is why this inherent connection, this integration with cyber is so important. So what that means is we need smart people like you in the room, in the community, to invest in cyber, invest in the understanding of how cyber is going to impact AI and evolve AI, because it has to be part of the fabric of it, right? You can't have data that you don't know is secure. You can't have data that you don't know it is what it say it is. Again, business transactions rely on this. Community transactions rely on this. Healthcare, banking, you name it. As we engage AI, if we don't have cyber, we're in trouble. So that's the takeaway here, guys. You're all in the right room. Cyber is a great place to be. For AI to be successful, cyber has to be successful, and they're intertwined. All right, so let's talk about AI applications. So they're numerous, and these are just some select ones that I wanted to call in and talk to you, right? So right now, real-time analysis. So AI-powered tools are really changing the game here, right? They can scale. They can capture so much more data than a human can. Back in the old days, when I was a younger guy, I worked in the security operations center. I'm looking at the audit logs and reports. I'm trying to figure out, hey, is there a threat? Does this correlate with this? And there's been some advances in tools to be able to tell you some things, but AI is allowing this to just go off the charts. So now you can scale the way no human can. You can get accurate data to understand pattern analysis, behaviors. So now my analysis should be 99% pretty way better than it was before, and I can't compete as a human. So there's ultimately at some level, one, you kind of acknowledge that there's the data coming in. Somebody has to make some decisions with the data, so there's always going to be a human there. But I will say this: your traditional lower tier kind of SOC, security operations center analysts, are going to go away. And there's been this kind of prevailing sentiment, particularly in the cyber community, that, hey, we have bazillion jobs, they're not going to be all filled. And we have the wonderful Alabama School of Cyber Technology and Engineering here. We're going to help build the next generation of workforce, cyber warriors, all that. That's phenomenal. I'm a massive supporter and believer in that. However, we need to really focus the energies of those schools and learning, because some of these lower level SOC analysis, things that I did growing up and we still have in the community, they're going away. AI is going to take it. They can scale. They can do better. They can do the neural network analysis of network traffic patterns. There's just no way to keep up with it. Now, again, it's going to have to go then to the next level. So that higher tier person is going to say, okay, hey, we found an incident. We found this risk. We got to do something with it. So I'm not saying people are going away entirely, but a lot of the arms and legs that we've had in the past, they're going to have to go away. All right, so automated scanning and patching. So this one is interesting. So scanning is just paramount to cyber, right? So you do vulnerability scans, you scans for threats. Now AI allows you to use faster, similar to the real-time analysis. We can automate those, find weaknesses. There's some challenges here though. So as this propagates and you can do more with the technology, as you find vulnerabilities, as you find threats and risks, how do you automatically, fix those, or how do you fix those faster? And so there's a movement to automated patching and remediation, which is frankly a challenge. And I think it's starting to move in this direction, but it's not where it needs to be. There's a couple companies out there that are doing automated patching, and they're good. But I will say this: if you're the system owner of a system and they need to be patched because you found XYZ vulnerabilities, the configuration of that system matters, the criticality of the system matters, the policies internal to the environment matter. So there's a lot of vulnerability, a lot of variables that are just hard to automate against. So that is increasing. There are specific tools out there that are doing automated patching, but where it's kind of happening right now is they're actually doing the patching in siloed or test environments. So we're running automated scans via AI, and then they generate the findings in kind of a test environment or a separate cell to say, hey, if we patch this, what would happen? And then it gives you the probability of success on, hey, that patch will work or not work. So again, it's slowly getting there, but that's a pretty big advancement, right? So if I'm a system administrator, I could see, hey, this is a 99% probability that this patch is not going to break anything. Hey, I'm gonna go with it. If it's 95% or over, I'll go with it. If it's lower, maybe I need to do some investigation, things like that. But this is just allowing you to move so much faster, be much more impactful. It's really kind of crazy, if I'm being honest. Again, vulnerability mitigation, predictive analysis. So it used to just be rapid response. Hey, something happened, react. Hey, the bad guy did something, fix it. Hey, I need to deploy my mitigation plan. But now we can, with AI, really understand what the threat environment looks like and have predictive analysis that, hey, if I have XYZ configuration, if I have XYZ policy, if I have XYZ access control arrangements or privileges, I have XYZ percentage or probability that I'm going to get hacked. And so now I can start to lean forward into, hey, maybe I need to set up my system in this way or that way to mitigate that risk, right? Not just being reactive. So I can be much more proactive based on the AI data coming in to really understand how I manage those vulnerabilities. So insanely powerful tool right now, and it's only getting better. And the number, we'll talk about this a little bit, but the number of applications, software that are coming out, that are being released, that are being built off these AI predictive analysis algorithms is off the charts. So we're just seeing massive amount of tools flooding the market because it continues to get better every day. It's amazing. Even like 6 months ago, what was available is like, double the impact today. So really amazing stuff. So the next here, if you can see it, analyzing language and context and messages. So this is really around really driving into phishing attacks. Everybody knows what phishing attacks are, right? So unfortunately, they're massively sophisticated. When I was growing up, I had an uncle in an African country, and he was, going to bestow me a gift of $1 million, and I just had to click on the link, and they were going to send me the money, and the language was broken English. It was didn't look like it was real, right? It was super easy to realize that it was a phishing attack, and it was fake. Nowadays, you can't tell. I mean, I'll be honest, like it's nearly impossible to tell, and I get phished all the time. Actually, I'm terrified. I don't click on any links. Candidly, I'm a massive target to begin with because, like, hey, there's a cyber guy. He's in the community. Let's show him he doesn't know what he's doing. So, like, it's terrible, and I have to live with some type of paranoia. But like, people want to make a case out of me, which is really sad. But it is what it is. I have to live that reality. But because we have AI now, generative AI, they can actually look for indicators, see the patterns, analysis of, hey, I know that these types of messages are coming from these known malware sites. They're looking at the type of language that's used. Is it generative language? They can see things that you can't. And they just know that, hey, so you have software now that can tell you, hey, this is probability of this being a phishing attack is 99%. Probability is 40%, whatever it is, that gives you the ability to really understand what your risks are. So again, the world is changing, and it's changing fast. And AI is really driving this again. So finally, threats. Marcus Sachs, like I said earlier, he's going to come talk more about this, but threats and unauthorized activities, behaviors. The now it's just amazing what you can do. You see the people in your organization. Hey, are they sending stuff to Gmail? Are they downloading stuff to Dropbox? Even if, hopefully that's not allowed. But you can see kind of the behaviors of people. Trigger alerts, say, hey, this is what's happening, and ultimately stop certain things from happening. So just the automation, the real time is just so much different. When I was growing up in the cyber community, you couldn't do this. There was so much a lag, it was a delay. It was fighting the battle that you could never win because I was just responding to things that are happening to me, right? I was just, somebody hit me with a rock. Okay, what do I do? Hey, I got hit by another rock. What do I do? But now we can really lean forward and really hopefully have some predictive analysis around, hey, how do we manage this? How does it work? And it's just changing so fast. So again, key takeaways are that this integration with AI are really driving the need to have humans in the loop. You're still going to have to have people. You're still going to have smart people to do and make use of the data. But a lot of the kind of low level stuff. When I grew up in cyber, I was doing some kind of low level analysis. That you don't need to do that now. The tools exist to make that happen. So, anyway, it's really, really impactful. I will make one point here. So when you find all these things, the remediation is still going to be a challenge, right? So, hey, threats, behavior, I still got to do something with it. Hey, I got an insider threat alert. It's 90%. Like you still have to do something with it. So there's still going to be a need that is you can't just automate picking up the phone and saying to John Smith over here, hey, you trigger this alert, we think you're an insider threat, right? That's not going to be automated. There's not going to be a robot that comes out, at least not yet, that goes and gives them a handcuff or gives them some citation. But you still need people to help with this. So again, massive convergence. AI, cyber, you're not going to be successful in cyber without a strong awareness and understanding of AI. So hopefully that's a big takeaway here. So it makes sense. All right, so benefits, like I've been talking about, this might be somewhat redundant, but again, just the ability to comb through this incredible amount of data, fast, real time. You can actually curate the data. Hey, I want it all across my enterprise. I want to pull in data sets or threat feeds from outside of my company or organization. You can curate which feeds of data that you want to pull in. And use that data to detect anomalies, patterns, all of it, you name it. So it just does stuff you can't do, and there's no other way to do it. So the advanced threat detection is paramount, driven by AI. And if you're not using AI tools or enable tools for your threat detection, man, you might as well, you're owned. And you probably have a whole host of problems already that you don't even know about. Like I said, real-time response, like I said before, just, back in the day, it took time, it took energy, it took a lift. Man, things are fast. And if you're not moving fast, you're dead. Adaptive security. So this whole idea of learning, predictive analysis, having probabilities is critical. So that really allows you to say, hey, what do I need to do? What should I do? Where should I focus my time, energy, focus? Whereas before, I'll be honest with you, you're a little bit like, hey, I think this is right, but I'm not really sure. Now you really kind of know where you need to be and what needs to happen. So just really, really powerful. Phishing, again, like I talked about, the precision that they allow you to really see what's going on is just, it's incredible. I mean, some of the phishing attacks now I see I would have, if I know not to click, I would have clicked like 100 times just because it looks so good. And then obviously data analysis. If data is the currency, and it is, you need to make sure, hey, what's the data? What does it say? How is it enabling your business? What are the key measures that you want as a business? How are you managing that? So overall, again, from a perspective of cyber, increased security, that's ultimately the fundamental game, right? As a business owner, as a CISO, as a director, as a operator, you want increased security. You want more informed risk decision making. So if I'm making a decision, I want to make sure that it's accurate, that the probability is there, that's high. I can get that now, right? I can get it real time. I'm not making guesses. I'm working much more effectively. Overall, reduced risk, right? I mean, that's ultimately kind of, particularly from the government parlance. Hey, it's all about risk. Hey, I want low risk. I want the person or organization or people that are going to help reduce that risk. We get there. And then the biggest one, in my opinion, is cost savings. You could do way more with less. There's good and bad with that, right? I don't have to hire as many people. I don't have to train as many people. I don't have as many problem people coming over to me crying on my shoulder. But there's other places you're going to have to spend on software licenses, things like that. So again, massive benefits that you cannot deny. You have to go down this route. There's just no question about it. If you're running a side program, informing a side program, and not using AI, man, then yeah, probably don't talk to me after this because I might be upset. That said, let's talk about some of the challenges. So, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about this with this kind of spotlight on the hackers, but everything that we're doing as beneficiaries of businesses, the community, and our organizations can be leveraged by hackers. So the bad guys, the adversaries, have the same resources, same access to that you do, right? So some of these people are really bad. They want to cause harm. They want to steal money. They want to make you have a bad day, and they can do that and have more impact by doing that. So it's not a great situation there. I'll talk about some of the examples for that, but again, what you're doing, they can do. So, like I said, if you're not doing it and they're doing it, it's even worse. Privacy, balancing privacy and AI. I don't know if you guys think his name's Andrew Miller. That was an earlier session talking about legal compliance. This is just balancing that is something that, from a legal compliance perspective, just hasn't been sorted out yet. So there's some concern there. I know there's some applications that are doing facial recognition. They're taking data across different events, taking it all. Hey, I got information on you, your face structure, even like where you go on your phones, right? All of that, in aggregate is personal information. The legal aspect of that and what you can and is appropriate to maintain and sell or hold is just in question. Just really, again, Andrew talked a lot about this morning, but that's a big challenge. Bias in AI. So again, how you train your AI is a huge issue. And if you're putting, again, the old corollary, hey, bad input in, bad input out, or bad data in, bad data out. So similar kind of approach here. If you don't have a large scale, if your data is skewed, if somebody is manipulating your data or making it not appropriate what it should be, and getting back to the data CIA, the integrity of the data is not there. It's a problem, right? So that's why the security and assurance that the data is what it says it is. It's really, really important. And again, I make some statements about, hey, there may be less jobs, and I do think there will, but it does make the human in the loop when you need the human in the loop more important and more impactful, right? So we're getting more data, we're getting it faster. We have to be that much more mindful and have good judgment, right, around how we're using it. So the decisions that you make are just more impactful and more important than they've ever been. So again, these are some massive challenges. So again, overall, make sure you train in AI if you get an AI, investment in cyber, investment in security, and then you need strong leadership, you need strong decision making, because if without it, these challenges only become exponentially worse. So again, it's not all a panacea, it's not all a gravy train. There's some issues that we're gonna have to grapple with, but I think we're gonna see these challenges addressed over time, and there'll probably be even more challenges. And by the way, these are the top of mind, but are the ones that rise at the top. But anyway, yeah. So the environment is rich for solutions. So particularly some of the young folks in the room, if you can help solve some of these, that would be huge. All right, so let's talk about hackers and AI. This is kind of both exciting and terrifying, right? The adversaries have the same stuff that we have, but I don't know if y'all are how tuned in you are to all this, but there's something called Worm GPT, came out in like 2023. So what happened was they kind of took some of the information from OpenAI, the bad guys, adversaries, and this is all on the dark web. They basically built their own large language model on adversarial behavior, adversarial TTPs, tactic, techniques, and protocols, signature, like stuff like polymorphic malware, malware that's hard to be detected with signatures, phishing attacks. Basically, it was a clearinghouse for bad guys to go on the dark web and say, hey, I want to hack this system. I need XYZ malware. I need XYZ TTP. And they would go in there and get it. And it was built off of the information that was being fed through all the various exploits that are out there, 0 days, all the different information and data that they had. So kind of blew up the community, if I'm being honest, in the sense that it really, shocked to the core, like, oh my gosh, we have these large language models, but the bad guys now have their own large language models, and what are we going to do about it? So needless to say, all the 3-letter agencies and, all the really, tough guys with the guns and everything, they got involved and they shut Worm GPT down. So Worm GPT does not exist today. However, again, we're always fighting the bad guys. They created something recently called Fraud GPT. So, hey, don't even just call it Worm. Let's straight up say fraud. It's not even a secret, right? So, hey, we want to make fraud. Let's do this. So again, hopefully, I hesitate to say go to the dark web because I really don't think you should. But all this stuff's out there. So, but I will say this has been the 3-letter agencies have been working on this too. But Fraud GPT, get this. So it's a generative AI application on the dark web. So it has the forums, but it's a subscription-based software. So the bad guys are like, hey, let's make money from the other bad guys. Let's cause havoc and chaos and give them everything they need to do that. But at the same time, let's charge some money for it. So the bad guys started you for $200 a month. You get access to this custom malware generation, custom scripts, TTPs, everything you need to do to cause enhance your hack or get your hack going. And so, hey, yeah, I'm on the dark web. Here's my $200 subscription and I'm getting the stuff I need. Crazy, right? That's just crazy. They're just making it's fraud as a service, right? They're not no bones about it. Like, so that happened. So that happened this past year, caused a massive stir. So again, the 3-letter agencies, all the guys with the guns, and everybody raided some houses, blah, 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 whatever happened. So this is no longer available. So if you go on the dark web and try to do Fraud GPT, it's not going to be there, luckily. However, there's other kind of spin-offs. So Empire, WHM, Torres, World, Alphabet, another one's called Versus. And I'll be honest with you, like you have to be a full-time person on the dark web to keep up with it. Because like it's just, they're spitting them out all the time. There's just new applications, new forums, new everything. There's just no way, unless it was my full-time job, to just sit on the dark web and like curate all this and do research on it. I know people are doing that, but I'm also trying to run a business and do these talks, right? So, but they're out there. So there's also these other variants: Escape GPT, Evil GPT, Wolf GPT. So like, again, you go out there, it's just insane. It's just a whole new world. Like I said, I would only recommend you go on the dark web if you kind of know what you're doing and you're a trained professional, because there's some really terrible things out there. So I'm alluding to that, and that's where these things are. But please have caution if you do go on there. I wouldn't recommend it. So another big thing that's happening right now, and I think you probably are aware of this, generative AI to help with your click fraud. Click fraud is huge, right? And you guys see this all the time if you're on social media. Hey, click here, click there. So the bad guys are like, oh man, this is easy. Let's just use AI. I'll build a fake website. I'll join this network and get kind of paid search ads, kind of things like that. So that people will say, hey, I'll pay for you if you get these clicks or whatever. And then they'll have specific keywords they do. And then they're going to use AI, which is based on these human machine learning, human behaviors to kind of typically, in the past, click fraud was like, oh man, this is just a bot. I see kind of the 10,000 clicks in a row, or there's a bunch of clicks and stops, a bunch of clicks, whatever it is. But now with the machine learning and AI enabled applications, they are modeling real human behavior with the click-throughs, right? So it looks like what you would do. Hey, I click on this site, I click the info, or hey, then I click off, I need to read something else. I click, but they have it down so that your behavior and how you manage and navigate a website is exactly what they would show with the AI. So really, really difficult for the actual advertiser to know if it's you or if it's some generative AI enabled application. And the bad guys are making billions on this. Billions. They're just throwing these websites up, making it super sexy, exciting. Everybody's kind of, and then they make it look like this is what's happening, and they're just making huge profits. So again, bad guys are out here. I know Marcus Sachs is going to talk more about kind of the threat landscape and all this. These are just kind of some initial examples that kind of make you aware of it. He'll kind of deep dive into some of the other things that are happening out there. You could spend all day on this, frankly, weeks or months, just talking about all the crazy things that are happening. It's impossible to keep up. But yeah, this is real, and they're using this to their own advantage, and we need to be mindful of that. Is really the kind of key takeaway. All right, so we have the hackers, we have these challenges with some benefits. There's a massive agreement that there needs to be some type of governance around AI, and so Google just realized this. Hey, we nothing is really out there. The federal government yet hasn't kind of taken a stand on this. There needs to be some type of model that we can work with. So they created something called the Secure AI Framework. So, and there's going to be other governance framework, and we're going to kind of see which ones kind of pan out. But they kind of have the lead right now. So the whole idea is if you're going to build a large language model, you're going to use AI. You want to make sure that you're protecting it, so you can't steal the model, you can't poison the data. If you're doing training, if you're training the data, and then obviously making sure that the data has integrity. You're not putting bad data in it. So there needs to be some kind of awareness around how this works. So I'm going to talk about some of these, not all of these, but so there's the idea that you have more security foundation to your AI ecosystem. So again, DevSecOps exists, but I think what they're talking about is going a step further. And I don't know how familiar you are with like traditional purple teams. So it's the idea that you have kind of the red team, kind of threat hunting folks. They're out there looking for the latest threats. They go back and train your blue teams, your cyber defenders, but they also train your application developers. So as they're developing their applications in agile sprints, and that seems to be kind of the name of the game now, agile, right? So yeah, I got a release, I got a version release, and they have to keep up with security, right? So, but they really can't. And this is kind of a sad state to say this out loud, but the federal government, which we mostly do work with, they're spending millions, billions of dollars on these really cool, snazzy apps, and they release them, and like immediately they're owned, right? So you just spent $1 million on this app, and now it's for naught, right? So you just lost all your investment, all your money. You have to throw it away. You can't use it. That's insane. That's inefficient. That's inappropriate. It's not a good steward of taxpayer money, things like that. So the whole idea of this is we need to take threat hunters, we need to take automated, the AI, the threat kind of AI analysis, predictive analysis, all that needs to feed back to your application development team in near real time and show them, hey, if you have this code base, if you have this particular configuration, there's a risk. And so as they're continuing to develop and enhance those applications, they're incorporating security near real time. Again, there's new zero-day attacks, there's new threat, there's all kinds of stuff happening super fast, but you want to try to be as close to the button as you can as you're developing apps. Right now, not a lot of that, not everybody's doing that the way they should. You have a lot of really, some of you may be like this in the room, a lot of sharp application developers out there. Hey, I can run scripts. I'm on GitHub. I can do this. I got these access to repositories. I'm going to develop this cool, snazzy app. But if it's anything to do with money, secure data or privacy-related data, you're gonna, it's gonna get owned, right? So we need to have kind of a shift in, really making sure security is built into these AI models, AI applications, and that needs to happen. So each of these organizations really need to double down on cyber and investing cyber into the AI. So again, extend your detection and response. So again, make sure you use AI into your SIM tools, SIM capabilities. You can't do it just by the human in the loop with that particular piece. You're looking at audit logs, incidents, like you have to have AI. The information scales too good, too much predictive information. You have to have automation. You got to make sure that you are really getting to that faster feedback loop, right? So how are you working it? So it's a combination in my mind of using AI platforms and AI enabled kind of threat predictive analysis and cyber hunters, because there's some things just the tools can't see just yet, but you need both of them working together. And then you need, and AI is really good at this, like the knowledge management and training piece is really important and something that AI does pretty well. Like most of the, a lot of teams or organizations use like training and things like that and use AI because it's just easy to do. So what I would say is that people need to acknowledge that and take the information back and train their application developers, have ways to train them faster, close that feedback loop to make sure that you guys, the organization and the application developers are really working hard appropriate. So again, this is Google saying this is the community saying this, but this, again, the federal government hasn't necessarily said all this just yet, but for this to be successful, this has to happen or else it's all going to kind of break down. Like I said in the earlier slide, cyber is part of it all. AI tools, I don't want to spend a ton of time on this. Honestly, they're changing every day. You've heard a lot of these, Darktrace, Cylance, CrowdStrike, Vectra, Barracuda. I mean, these are all different types of kind of lenses, whether it's like looking at endpoint protection, whether it's network threat detection, analyzing network behavior, all the different things, right? But the key takeaway here is that the cyber tools are quickly, if not all of them, are incorporating machine learning and AI or generative AI. And I mean, I don't think this is a far statement to say, but I think, starting today, nearly every application that's cyber related will have AI built into it. It's just a requirement. Like I said, you have to have it to be successful. So if you have a tool that doesn't use AI, and you're like in the Stone Age, you might have an honest conversation with your vendor or what they're doing. So again, these are just a handful of examples. There's thousands of different tools out there. And honestly, there's new tools coming out every day. I can't keep up with them all. But if you're a cyber professional, a cybersecurity person, student, whatever, like you got to leverage these tools, and they have to have AI built into them, or else, man, you're dead in the water. This is moving really, really fast. All right, so what does the future look like? Again, I'm not a prognosticator. I'm not some type of wizard here, but I can kind of see what's happening. Again, you're going to see kind of these niche AI communities or forums. So threat detection and response AI is going to be kind of a whole field. AI-driven threat detection and response is going to kind of be its own. You'll have specific models. It's going to be kind of its own subset of the community. But again, using deep learning and doing the predictive analysis, all that. Again, predictive analysis AI. Okay, what does that model look like? There are going to be all kinds of new models that are coming out, and it's happening now. So, in my mind, there's just going to be new systems. This whole kind of subset of AI. There's going to be, because of AI, much more focus on kind of personal tailored solutions and approaches for cyber. It used to be, well, hey, I need to be able to, everybody kind of does this or they're out. But it's going to be more tailored to your role, rights, privileges, types of behavior you need to have. So you're going to see a lot more kind of tailored approaches for different roles or functions. Identity and access management is going to be already, and you see this already with all the facial recognition and AI, pattern analysis, all that. You're going to see a revolution or transformation in biometric security. It's just going to just go off the charts. Again, I just see that happening. It already is happening. Obviously, this is going to be its own subset, the threat hunting, intelligence AI. So you have threat hunters right now that they're kind of, I used to do some of this stuff, but now it's going to be AI. You will have to have some human in the loops, but this is going to be its own subset. Security orchestration. So understanding what platforms, this is really exciting in my opinion. Kind of a lot of the problems around cyber and even kind of cybersecurity management, orchestration of the different platforms and data flows and things like that. Having AI facilitate kind of what will work and what's appropriate for your organization is insanely powerful. A lot of challenges there that I think AI is going to help move forward. So again, this is where I see things happening. And then cybercrime, again, we talked a little bit about that, but unfortunately, you got to see this on the news. It seems real kind of fake right now, but hey, Trump said this. Was it really him? I don't know. It's only harder to know these deep fakes. Hey, somebody is a friend that took some picture or video of them. They modified it, put somebody's head on, whatever it is. that stuff's only going to get out of control. There's going to be a real wake-up call around, hey, the integrity of data, what's real, what's not real, how are we going to handle it? So that's, again, on the table. Zero trust. I think there's going to be AI here. Zero trust is something that just came out, right? It's the whole concept that, not everybody should have access to everything in the network, right? You should have only access to what you need to do your job. And understanding that they're continuous and authenticated. And so I think AI is going to really transform this whole concept of zero trust. The government is really big on DHS, put some memoranda out around, you have to do this as an organization, as federal government, but I think this is going to get just warp speed change, warp speed evolution. We're going to see that. Regulatory compliance, this one is a little bit more squishy. I think potentially there's an opportunity for AI to really help there if we can figure things out, because it's going to take, federal government, states, communities to really decide, hey, what's appropriate, what's not. But I think once some barriers or boundaries are set, the AIs will be able to kind of tell you what's compliant or what's not. And then obviously the last one here is, workforce augmentation AI. So knowing where you can add the most value to your organization, where you can use AI to replace humans or to make them better, faster, bigger, stronger, whatever you want to say. But again, there's a lot of kind of question marks around this, but I see massive kind of very subsets of AI specific that are forming their own models. They're forming their own tools and solutions in the next few years that, in my opinion, will revolutionize cybersecurity. It's an exciting time. We're poised to kind of really make some big changes in our community. I'm excited what the future holds. I know there's a lot of question marks as well, but for me, I think it's an exciting time to be around. For the students that are in the room, I think you're in a great place. Please lean forward into this. Like everything related to school, I had to figure it out on my own. The curriculum's already dated, right? And so you got to be able to lean forward and go fast. And that's for everybody, either business owners, community leaders, all of us. So.